We all think we know the true story of the three little pigs and the big bad wolf. But what you know to be as true is not. Let's see what really happened on that day. This is Fred's house. It had been a week since Fred had moved into his new home in Piglet Forest. It was the first time he was living on his own, and he was eager to make new friends. He knew that there were 3 houses just down the road, one built out of hay, one built out of sticks, and the other built out of bricks. Today he decided he was going to meet his new neighbors. Fred got out of bed to make some breakfast. Ah, 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 choo! Crash! All the paintings fell off the wall. That sneeze came out of nowhere, thought Fred. I hope I'm not getting sick. Fred continues to the kitchen to get a pot to make some oatmeal for breakfast. Ah, 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 choo! The oatmeal flies everywhere. Oh no, says Fred. I am sick. When Fred was sick at home, his mom would make him soup, and he would feel better. So he decided that he was going to make some soup. Ah, 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 choo! The chair flew over, the table flipped over. Fred's house was a disaster. What am I going to do? Thought Fred. I know. I will go down to my neighbor's house and kindly ask them to make me some soup. That way I can make new friends and get better all at the same time. So Fred started off down the road. He came to the first house made of hay. The name on the door said Ted. Fred knocks on the door and says, "Excuse me, kind neighbor. I am new to Piglet Forest, and I was wondering if you could make me some soup." Fred didn't realize, but because he was sick, his voice sounded like a growl, and Ted was frightened. "Go away, you big bad wolf," said Ted. Before Fred could answer, he felt a sneeze coming on. Ah, 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 choo! And Ted's house blew to the ground. Fred tried to apologize, but Ted ran away screaming in the direction of the house made out of sticks. Fred felt really bad, but he could not stop sneezing until he had some soup. He decided to walk to the next house made out of sticks. As he came to the second house made out of sticks, the name on the door said Tom. Fred knocked on the door and said, "Excuse me, kind neighbor. I am new to Piglet Forest, and I was wondering if you could make me some soup." Fred didn't realize, but because he was sick, his voice sounded like a growl, and both Tom and Ted were frightened. Tom answered and said, "Go away, big bad wolf." Before Fred could answer, he felt a sneeze coming on. Ah, 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 choo! And Tom's house blew to the ground. He tried to apologize, but both Tom and Ted ran down the road screaming in the direction of the brick house. Fred felt really bad, but he could not stop sneezing until he had some soup, and he was sad that he couldn't make any friends. He decided to walk to the last house made out of bricks. As he came to the last house made out of bricks, the name on the door said Amy. Fred knocked on the door and said, "Excuse me, kind neighbor. I'm new to Piglet Forest, and I was wondering if you could make me some soup." But because Fred was sick, his voice sounded like a growl, and Amy, Tom, and Ted were frightened. They all answered and said, "Go away, big bad wolf." Before Fred could answer, he felt a sneeze coming on. Ah, 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 choo! But this time, the house didn't fall down. Instead, Fred fell down crying. The 3 little pigs waited a second, and when they heard Fred crying, they slowly opened the door and realized how upset Fred was. Amy asked, "Why are you crying?" Fred answered and said, "I'm sick and I would really like some soup." The 3 little pigs realized that Fred didn't mean any harm and that he wasn't so big and so bad after all. They invited Fred in and made him some soup so he could feel better. And they became best friends. The three little pigs learned not to judge someone before they got to know them, and Fred was happy he made new friends. He knew his life in Piglet Forest would be a good one. And that's the true story of the three little pigs and the big bad wolf.